Hi everybody, I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton is behind the camera. Welcome to the garage and the court of public opinion for this Wednesday. Pete, got a question.
Yes.
What did people do before alarm clocks?
Well, the roosters used to wake them up, didn't they?
Roosters. Well, you had hourglasses and roosters. Well, Sir David Attenborough says what they would do back in the day, they would put a nail in a candle, and at a point they calculated would be the time they needed to wake up, working out how much time it would take for the candle to burn down. The nail would drop out, making a noise. I guess you'd put it on a tin plate or something, making a noise and waking up the individual.
This is fair dinkum.
I would never have thought of that. Look, if Sir David Attenborough says it, I believe it.
It must be true. Yeah.
Yep. Wow. I mean, that's why I'm not a caveman. I'm a Longines man. This is very old. I mean, I've had this for 40, no, longer, probably 50 years. Yeah. It's a Longines watch. I've been making them since 1876. 1867. And the name means Long Meadows. It's a wonderful, affordable, reliable Swiss watch. And I got this at auction, so it was a hell of a lot cheaper than retail, and it has never missed a beat. Far more reliable than the candle, I would suggest. We talked about that US study of electric cars, ownership of electric cars. I think that was when Ian Plimer, Professor Ian Plimer, was with us, not last Friday, I think it was the Friday before. And that American study showed that 74% of people who had bought an electric car would not buy another one. Locally, they have just done a similar survey. Now they say here something like 50% of people would not buy another electric car. But this is exactly where this caring government wants us to go. What's happening to the world? It's weird. Whooping cough. There's a whooping cough scare on at the moment. This caught my eye because my sister, Serena, got whooping cough when she was just a baby. She wouldn't have been more than 10 weeks old, something like that. Anyway, we've got an epidemic sweeping the country, the 100-day cough, they call it. There's a typical uptick in the number of cases every 4 years or so, but this seems to be a bit different. Now, what happens, or happened for generations, of course, was that a mother would take the baby along, and usually to the local clinic, and get the triple antigen, which I think was tetanus, whooping cough, and diphtheria. I think the triple antigen. Most important. There were no anti-vaxxers around then, but there are still today people who consistently say no to vaccination. I don't know why. Seems weird to me. The live sheep export trade, which, as you would well know, we are vehemently against. Pete?
Oh, I am very much against it, yes.
Oh, the footage that we have seen is just appalling. Just against any civilized country. Anyway, it will end, to the credit of this government, it will end in 2028, May 1st, 2028. I know farmers are concerned at the thought of losing the trade, meaning, of course, the money, the revenue. But the trade is cruel and immoral. And I don't care what it's worth. The drug trade is profitable too. White slavery. The balance sheet can't dictate people's morals. The industry won't be lost, damaged, maybe a slight setback, but losses will be underwritten by the government to the tune of well over $100 million. The farmers will be transitioned towards local processing and value adding the trade, which is really something they should have been doing all along. But no, the farmers say if the government won't change the policy, we'll change the government. My suggestion to the farmers is change your mind. You're just basically being stubborn. Somebody sent me a note to tell me that the Premier's Department today has a staff of 40. Look, I won't talk about it now, maybe next week or maybe on Friday around the dining room table. But 40 people in the Premier's Department. What do they all do? Anyway, let's get into that later. Let me tell you a little bit about the federal government here, because I think this is an important time in our history. We're less than a year to go before the next election. When the new Governor-General was sworn in on Monday with much pomp and ceremony, they talked about the welcome to country. Then there was a smoking ceremony. Or maybe I've got that round the wrong way. There was the smoking ceremony and then the welcome to country. I don't know, it doesn't matter. But the Prime Minister described these as century-old ceremonies. Rubbish. If he was sitting here beside me right now, I'd say to him, rubbish. It was all to welcome the King's new representative. I wonder what he would have thought. The whole Aboriginal thing in this context was nonsense. These so-called century-old ceremonies go back to 1973. 1973, to a pop concert in Nimbin, New South Wales. Yeah, drug taking. I've never been to Nimbin, but it's quite famous in sort of juvenile folklore. Nimbin was put on by the Union of Students. Wow. And there was stand-up comic Ernie Dingo, who invented, of course, the welcome to country and the smoking ceremony. Do you believe that the Prime Minister of Australia would pull a con like that? Century-old ceremonies? You can go listen to the tape, the script, whatever. 1973. This is demented. But it's also something like the three flags behind every minister and the Prime Minister and every official moment. It's just crazy. We've got to stop it. I don't know how we stop it. But listen, speaking of stopping it, let me see if I've got my glasses. Yes, thank you. I got my glasses. This was sent to me. Primary students are being told to put their hands on the ground and say, "Always will be Aboriginal land," during the daily acknowledgement of country. Students at a Sydney primary school are being told to put their hands on the ground and repeat, "Always was, always will be Aboriginal land," as part of an acknowledgement to country ceremony before each assembly. At which I don't think they have anything to do with the Australian flag or the national anthem or the Lord's Prayer or any of that. No. It's understood schools are also being increasingly asked to play the Aboriginal instruments. The Australian national anthem is not there. Aboriginal instruments are. I'm not sure a lot of people know this, said one mum from New South Wales' lower Blue Mountains, who did not want her children's school to be named. We have to touch the ground and say always was, always will be Aboriginal land and start the assembly at school. The mum said that she only noticed recently the addition of the updated national anthem accompanied by the didgeridoo and stick instruments. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to do something about this. This is plain balmy. Stupid. Our land is being stolen out from underneath our nose. And when I say our land, I'm including the Aboriginal people. I want to get Warren Mundine around the dining room table on Friday because I want to talk to him. Because he is 100 miles an hour on this. He believes that the stealth with which this land is being stolen, being given away, is intolerable. I've got enormous respect for Warren Mundine. Hopefully he'll be available to have a chat to us on Friday. I know he, well, every time I've asked him to come on the show, he has. I saw a story on Western Sydney on, it was 7:30 on the ABC, the seat of Blaxland around Bankstown. It was sort of about Middle Eastern issues. Not a terribly posh part of Sydney. Well, certainly wasn't when I was in Sydney, but that's, mind you, that's, getting on for 50 years ago. It was Paul Keating's seat. He won that at a very young age. All the years I have known Paul Keating, he never lived there. No. He always lived in Woollahra or Canberra. Woollahra, it was Queen Street. That was his home, a few doors up from John Law's, one of the most prestigious streets in Australia. Well, certainly, well, as I say, one of them. Great style that man has, had and has. French clocks, you name it. Socialism, well, I don't know. Funny sort of socialism. He's got a lot of style. Whitlam was the same, He was another. His Western Sydney electorate was Cabramatta. The moment he was elected, he left and never returned. I saw that his old house was sold. They wanted $1 million and somebody was going to turn it into a shrine. Holy moly. Gough Whitlam lived at the Lodge and Kirribilli House, Paris, UNESCO. He went over there as head of UNESCO and then on to Elizabeth Bay where he spent his final years. A very posh suburb, Elizabeth Bay. Very expensive. No criticism, comment, nothing. Do I hear the word hypocrites? You stack all of this up against the Governor-General, our new Governor-General. So will she ever promote the Republican cause again? I swear my allegiance to King Charles, his heirs and successors. What are we dealing with here? It's as Professor Ian Plimer has often said to me, Labor's a great party, but it's lost its way. The Labor Party has become an elitist representative of inner city snobs and intellectuals and academics. Nothing to do with those people who fought for the rights and the opportunities for working class Australia. Nothing to do with it. I don't know why the unions have a bar. Well, of course, what am I saying? The unions own the Labor Party. So they must be somehow part of the equation. It's fascinating to see the movement to the right in European politics. The left has failed, or at best let down the people who put them there, at every level. But no graceful surrender. In France, they say, the lefties, the barbarians are at the gate. Meaning, of course, the right of politics. They are barbarians. In France, Germany, Scandinavia, England, the people are speaking. They feel, and I think probably pretty rightly, they are at risk of losing their culture and their country. Rampant, uncontrolled immigration. So what's the left doing this for, I wonder? Rampant, uncontrolled immigration threatens countries all over the world, including Australia. And clearly we've all had enough. Why are other people's culture more important than ours? Should be equal. You don't come into somebody's house and start rearranging the furniture and then being allowed to do it, or encouraged to do it. My ancestors were French and Scottish. Pete, what about yours?
Oh, very German.
German, yeah.
German, Scottish,
Yeah.
Viking.
Norwegian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Italians, Greeks, Germans, the Irish, the Norwegians or Scandinavians, the Chinese, they were here in the 1800s. And of course then the 10-pound bombs. We are Australia. We are Australia. But not if you listen to this government. They're all about something, oh, I don't know, no borders, one world, the Great Reset. These are dangerous times, ladies and gentlemen, and these are dangerous people. I want to say something about the Julian Assange saga, but first I want to alert you to this. Someone, and I suspect we, paid $750,000 for the private plane. This is the private jet that brought Julian Assange to Australia via the Mariana Islands, Saipan, this sort of far-flung outpost of the United States. Julian Assange has been, since he arrived, lionized, idealized, and I expect about to be canonized. I don't sort of really get it. This man published the material which compromised our most significant ally, or at least they felt that he had. He must have known what he was doing. There's an old saying in this business, and I guess most of the media, and that is publish and be damned. Publish and be damned. I know. I've done it in my time. I've done it myself. I've profited by it, and I've also been penalized because of it. I have paid the price, but I've always taken responsibility. When it comes to national security, there was always the D notice, which was a no-go area. It put you on notice. Don't go there. Don't mention it. If you were to, you would lose your job and possibly your freedom. Most probably your freedom. It was and is that simple. Julian Assange is no hero. It'll be interesting to see if he regroups or how he regroups. Will he sell his story? Start a religion? Make a movie? Get a safe Labour seat in Parliament? Write a book? Host a TV show? It could be you with Julian Assange. But one thing I am certain of, ladies and gentlemen, we have not heard the last of Julian Assange. Lots more to talk to you about, ladies and gentlemen, but let me just remind you about the Rising Sun, one of our lovely sponsors. And a funny thing happened, you know, when we had Jackie and we were talking about the Rising Sun around the dining room table, which we will be doing again on Friday, between 9 o'clock and 12, live streaming, jeremycordeaux.com. You can go there anytime you like. We were talking about Longines and Anton Schmidt, who revamped the old Rising Sun Inn and did it magnificently. But not only the Rising Sun Inn, but what were the others? Do you remember? There was the Director's Hotel, there was Cooper's Ale House. Oh, there were lots of them. And, you know, it came up in conversation when I was talking to Jackie, whatever happened to the Schmidts? And there I was, dropping my son Christopher off in town, and across the road, this is on Saturday, we were talking about this on Friday, Saturday, there was Longines Schmidt crossing the road. And I put my head out the window and I said, Longines! She ignored me. And I yelled again and she turned around. And anyway, I've got her phone number. I haven't been able to get her on the phone, but I want her to come on the show and talk to me about how she and her husband did these incredible restorations. They weren't renovations, they were historically correct restorations of these beautiful old hotels and buildings. It'll be a fascinating story, one that has not been told, but we'll do that. But in the meantime, if you want to see a little bit of their handiwork, the Rising Sun Inn, I'll give you their number. It's 8333-0721. If you ring and have a talk to Grant or Jackie, they'll organise, doesn't matter what you want, nice romantic lunch or dinner, or you want to launch a product or have a wedding reception or an anniversary party, whatever. It's a fantastic area for hospitality and enjoyment. The Rising Sun Inn, one of our really very valued sponsors. Some dates. Pete, have you got the time?
We can make it.
As long as the battery holds out.
Oh, that's fine.
The spirit is willing, but the battery is questionable. It is the 3rd of July. God, okay. 1886, in Germany, Carl Benz drives the first automobile in Mannheim at a top speed of 16 kilometers an hour, which is about 10 miles an hour. This day in 1886. Whoa. John Logie Baird demonstrates the first colour television transmission in London on this day in 1928. It took a hell of a long time to get here. Wow. Rudy Valley. I talked to him once. Yes, Rudy Valley, American singer, one of the earliest crooners. My time is your time, Vagabond Dreams. He dies at 84. That was in 1986 he died on this day. I remember when I talked to him, he was, I don't know whether he was manic depressive or not, but he was he was just depressed. And I said, why are you so, you've had this fantastic life. And he said something to me like, I wish it would end. I don't know, oh God. It was one of the saddest interviews I think I've ever done with a celebrity. Most of them put on a show, you know. Whether they feel like it or not, they. But anyway, I do remember that. Dunlop Latex Development Laboratories made foam rubber on this day in 1929. Jim Morrison, the American singer-songwriter, The Doors poet, dies of heart failure, allegedly caused by an accidental heroin overdose. Familiar story. He was 27, and this was the day in 1971. Brian Wilson performs with the Beach Boys after his 12-year stage absence at Anaheim Stadium in California in 1976. I think he spent that 10 years in bed. He just went to bed, didn't he, Pete?
Well, he went a little bit strange.
Wow! Oh, a little bit strange. Wow. Yes. Tom Cruise, American actor, Risky Business. Jerry Maguire, Rain Man. Oh, just so many. What's the drama thing that he did, the remake of the television series?
Oh, yes,
What's that called? Not Danger Man. Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible. Yeah. And the other one he did was the air flyer.
Top Gun.
Top Gun, yeah. I thought that should be on the list. Ain't on the list. Anyway, 1962. He was born in Syracuse, New York. Oh, here's one for you, Pete. Trigger. Roy Rogers' horse.
Yes.
Dies at the age of 25. Is that old for a horse?
That's about average.
That was 1965. Trigger. Trigger was a Palomino?
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful horse.
I fell in love with Palominos because Trigger.
Well, I think a generation of people did. No, absolutely. The Adelaide Crows Australian rules coach Phil Walsh, murdered by his son, 2015 on this day. Oh, hang on. We were just talking about Julian Assange. It's his birthday. Julian Assange, Australian founder of WikiLeaks, born in Townsville in Queensland in 1971. God, he looks 100 when you see him on the screen, doesn't he? Born 1971. Golly. Back to the Future, starring Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, is released in 1985 on this day. André Citroën, the French automobile pioneer, dies at just 57. They were lovely cars. Well, they were lovely cars. I don't think they are lovely cars anymore. I think they're made, well, there was the Citroën Goddess and the Light 15 with the big boot or the small boot. They were cars. They were cars. Anyway, André Citroën died in 1935 on this day. And the Pony Express arrives in San Francisco with overland letters from New York on this day in 1861, 1 year into the Civil War. It only lasted, how long did it last?
Well, it wasn't very long. I can't remember how many.
I think it was about 18 months.
Yeah. Too many got killed by Indians, I think.
Well, they did, and it was probably a pretty inefficient way to move mail around the country. But how come they are in folklore the way they are? Everybody knows about the Pony Express. Wow, the Pony Express. The telegraph took over, and of course they disappeared, 1861. Andy Griffin, one more. Andy Griffin, American actor, comedian, television producer, Southern gospel singer. Didn't know that. He was also a writer. He wrote The Andy Griffith Show and Matlock. He dies from a heart attack. Oh dear, how old was he? He was 86. 86. And Lou Hode sadly dies of a heart attack at 59 on this day in 1994. Great tennis player, Lou Hode. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us. Look forward to seeing you. Well, I won't be seeing you, but hopefully I will talk to you on Friday, 9 o'clock until 12. We have a whole bunch of interesting guests. Most importantly, if you've got anything you want to get off your chest and on the air, do give us a call. JeremyCordeaux.com. That's all you've got to go to.
Jeremy, would you mind if I tacked on that song I wrote about the live sheep export?
No. Look, I'd love you to.
Yeah, we'll put it on, and people can watch if they want. Or...
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. There'll be pros and cons about it, but gee whiz, when you see some of that footage, you listen to your song, it's pretty conclusive to me. We'll be back next week. Tuesday and Wednesday on Facebook, and Andy will put these out on his podcasting system, and we'll see you on Friday around the dining room table. This has been the Court of Public Opinion. Believe in yourself. Peter Clayton and I will be back. Believe in yourself, and bye for now.
They've loaded up another ship with 30,000 head. A death ship bound for the Middle East, and a callous halal death. Lambs to the slaughter, their throats slashed and bleeding, at the hands of heartless men without compassion or feeling. Where is the voice of reason when humanity is lost? When it's all about the bottom line, no matter what the cost. Suffocating in stifling heat, struggling for food and water, an indictment of mankind to put animals through the torture of sleeping if they can on a bed of their own waste. It's cruel and indefensible, a government disgrace. Where is the voice of reason when humanity is lost? When it's all about the bottom line, no matter what the cost. A government that does nothing in the face of mounting proof of cruelty unimaginable. They still won't see the truth. This is not the Australian way, this is not who we are. A barbaric trade that has no place in my Australia.